If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a bit of a fanatic about landings. I love doing them, I pride myself on them, and I try to educate everyone I can about how to make a good landing. Doesn't matter whether it's a warbird, bush plane, EDF, sport aerobatic, trainer. There's one thing that's very consistent, and that's going to be your approach. Slight variations, but the approach. And a lot of new pilots have a hard time with that. So in this video, I'm going to give you several tips that will enable you to make good, consistent approaches, which means you'll make good, consistent landings. Stick around and you'll see. One of the hardest parts when I'm training or a new pilot, talking to them about this approach right here and how it really is hard to get the approach right. First part is just the precision and being able to make that base to final and line up with the runway. It is challenging and it takes a lot of skill to do that. The one thing that can help you is consistency. So if I'm starting to make my turn right there when I'm above those trees, and just a nice sweeping turn, consistent angle, and then level out. And I do that over and over again. If you watch my videos, my landing videos, I will go through that almost the same height, altitude, the same time I'm going to turn, and the same place to level out. So I'm making my turn. And a lot of times now, so here we're lining up perfect, and I like to line up right between that tree and the fence. So here's the thing, if you find yourself not being able to line up with the runway, change a few things. For example, if you're making your turn and that big tree right there, and you're making your turn and you realize, I'm not lined up with the runway, well, extend that turn.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
So what I do as I'm making my turn, okay, right around here, I'm going to start making my turn, and I don't want to straighten out until I'm past that tree right there, and boom, I'm lined up with the runway. So another approach method is when you're making that turn,
time remaining 5 minutes,
making the turn, and I point the plane at me, making the turn, and there it is, I level off on me, and then make slight adjustments with the rudder to get it over the field, get it over the runway. Let me show you that again, so you can see that perspective. Now eventually, you're gonna find that, and that works well. The hard part is, if I don't line it up with me, like some people have a situation, they're making the turn and they think now they're lined up with the runway. Well, guess what? You're over that grass. So when you land your plane, you're gonna dump it right in the grass, rip off a landing gear or something. At least at our field you will. So here I'm gonna go and make that turn again, do the same thing, but this time I'm gonna point it at me, dropping a little altitude as I make my turn, because that's important, lining it up on me. And look at that, I'm almost right over that runway, I'm perfect. Had to give a little rudder to straighten it out, but it's a really great technique if you don't have visual landmarks. You'll see that I'm very consistent on my altitude also, which is a critical part. I don't want to be up too high. I'm right over those trees.
time remaining 3
And I like to be about under that tree or right at the tip, which sets me up for a perfect landing approach. Let's do that one more time. So you'll see I have consistent markers in my mind. I've done it thousands of times, but I'm right over the top of those trees. I'm backing off throttle just a little bit, lining up, making my turn, straightening out, and now I'm perfect, perfectly aligned to make my great landing. All right. Okay, I want to point out something that I do often also, and it just helps keep your airspeed up as you're descending and making this turn. You'll notice I'm dropping altitude as I'm making my turn. Just a little bit. So when I come out of that turn, I'm nice and low so I can make a perfect landing. If you're too high, then you have to reduce throttle, which helps on your descent, but sometimes you might slow too much. These trainers are pretty forgiving, but an EDF or a Warbird is not. Here I'm making my turn, backing off on throttle, and I'm getting that nose down. Reduces stalls, makes for a smoother, stable approach. Put it all together. A little high right now, so I want to drop down a little bit. There I go. Okay, I'm at a good height. I would like my altitude. I like my turn. I'm backing off on throttle, coming in, leveled out right where I want to. A little too far down the runway. So if you find yourself doing that, so I don't have my flaps on and such, which really slow me down. I'm just showing a clean plane. So if we know that this thing's going to glide a little further, I need to slow down maybe a little bit more and come into it a little lower. So here I'm well under that tree, coming in low, backing off throttle, lifting that nose up, and now I got it right in front of me, landing right in front of me just like I want to. So adjust your altitude going into your turn, and by doing that you'll start setting up consistency, a consistent approach to give you consistent good landings. If you're all over the place entering your turns from way up high or way too low and you're bouncing all over, you're not going to get this stabilized approach. Just not. All right. Now I haven't been using my flaps.
Takeoff flaps.
With flaps, it's the same thing. Just make sure you're keeping that speed up.
4 minutes.
Just a little bit of speed by keeping that nose down, make the turn, level off, and now we're lined up for the runway. Nice thing about flaps is
Landing flaps.
they do slow the plane down. Here I got my flaps deployed. It wants to climb a little bit, so I'm going to back off throttle even more, keep my nose down, make my turn, line up. This plane, this Ranger 1800 with full flaps, flies super slow. I find this is my favorite trainer because it's big, it flies slow, it does aerobatics, it does it all. Making my turn, backing off on throttle, backing off on throttle. I got just idle speed right now. Lifting my nose up to just plop it down. Gave a little throttle right there at the end. I didn't want it to mush too much. Let's do it again.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Tying it all together. Right above those trees, making my turn. Getting the nose to come down a little bit. So I'm short on my approach here, as you'll see, because I cut that pretty close. But with this plane, I can just bring it right in and just touch down perfect.
Flaps up.
There you go. Backing off, I'm about 8 throttle. Sidle, feeding in some elevator, 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 elevator. One more time. And this is with flap. If I don't have flap, the same kind of thing, but the plane will fly a little faster. All right, one more. Here we go. Dropping altitude just a little bit as I'm making my turn. Leveling off. Make small corrections if I need to with the rudder. Couldn't be any smoother. Keep practicing and you're gonna get it. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Have a great day.